West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another quick edition of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. This one, sorry. I'm Machel, say Patrick here, one half of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, and welcome to this edition. So this episode was never planned. This was never part of the content plan. But what day is it today? Yesterday. So over about 24 hours ago, I received a message from a listener, supporter of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. And it was such an intriguing message that I basically said, I've got to do this episode ASAP, because whenever something's sent to me that I find personally interesting, like I can't get out of my head. I'm not one of those people that likes to be like, oh no, we'll plan for this in 4 to 5 months. My whole thing is, let's do it right now. And so shout out David Ingram, and you can all find him on X at David Ingram 90. That's DavidIngram 90. You can find him on X at David Ingram 90. He may be on other platforms. I'm sure if you go to find him on X, he'll let you know what other platforms he's on. So David describes himself as like a cricket tragic. No, or is it a star? Anyways, he describes himself as a bit of a cricket tragic. Sorry, David, if that's the incorrect description. So I'm going to just read out David's message verbatim. And David said the following: "G'day from down under," like my Aussie accent there. "G'day from down under, Mash. So I study the history of Test cricket quite extensively, and in that pursuit, I've put together a Test cricket team of West Indies Test cricket team of the 21st century so far. I thought that the West Indies edition could provide a discussion point for an episode, or even just on one of your social posts. The team comprises the final 11 plus 5 additional squad depth members covering all possible roles. I felt that the batting lineup picked itself, but the bowling attack was far less straightforward, and I reckon I changed my mind about 8 times. Really enjoy what you and Santoki do. Keep up the great work. Cheers, David." And I just replied to David, essentially saying, this is a brilliant idea. And I said, what you've sent me, and I'm about to put up on the screen, I said, this is an episode in and of itself. And what I've done, because I thought about it yesterday, I was like, should I put my own 11 together? How should I approach this? Should I put my own 11 together, or should I just use David's 11 as the discussion point? So rather than this be like an X thread or a Blue Sky thread, or even put up on Instagram, etc., which I may do at a later date, I was like, let me just show everyone the team, and you lot get in the comments below or on the different social handles and either say David's team is a bag of foolishness, or say I fully agree, or post your alternatives. But I just found it a super interesting team that he sent me. So I'm just going to put it up on the screen right now. Let me put myself in the corner, people. So, in fact, if I put myself in the corner, you can't even see the team. But I'll get to the subs reserves in a minute. So this is David's West Indies cricket team of the 21st century. Let me take off the ticker tape at the bottom. So, Chris Gale and Craig Brathwaite openers, and you can see there on the team, people. You can read the numbers for yourselves, and notice this of the 21st century. So someone like Lara and Shiv, who made debuts before the year 2000, David has only included everybody's record from the year 2000 onwards. So someone like Shiv obviously played for 15 years. Lara only played for 6, but it's Brian Charles Lara, come on. So Chris Gale and Craig Brathwaite opening, you'll see that Chris's test average in that time, 42, 1500s, 37 50s. You'll see Craig Brathwaite, average of 33, up to date with 1200s and 30 50s. Number 3, Ramnaresh Sarwan, 87 test matches, average of 40 with 1500s and 31 50s. Number 4, Brian Charles Lara needs no explanation. Even in the latter 6 years of the Prince of Port of Spain's career, he averaged 54.06, 2100s in that 6 year, 2100, sorry, in his career with 1950s. Shivnarayan Chanderpaul, 127 tests in this period of time, an average of 54.73. 2800s, 4850s. Sorry, let me just check something, people. Let me just check something, because if this is what I think it is, let me just pause for a second. Because if this is what I think it is, then that is truly outstanding. Let me just double check. Yes, sugar. People, do you know from Brian Charles Lara, do you know how phenomenal that is? In that 6-year period from 2000 to 2006, Brian Charles Lara scored 2100s. That's an average of 300s per year. 2100s. To put that in perspective, Shiv, who's obviously another GOAT of West Indies cricket, scored 28 in 15 years. Charles scored 21 in the last 6 years of his career. Flipping phenomenal, right? Average of 54 from Brian Lara and Shiv Chandapal. And let me just pause there. If we really wanted to understand the fall from grace of the West Indies cricket team, look how so Brian Charles Lara retired 18 years ago. Chris retired 10 years ago. Shiv retired 9 years ago. Ramnaresh Sarwan 13 years ago. So when people talk about the decline of West Indies cricket, it's obviously valid, and there's key critiques to be made of it. But up until 18, 10, 11, 9, 8 years ago, we still had people who were world-class batters. Chris Gale opening and averaging 42 in a down bad side. Ramnaresh Sarwan averaging 40 at number 3. Brian Lara averaging 54. Shiv averaging 55 in essence. That's still the essence of a world-class batting lineup, right? So this notion that we've always been down bad, and we have in the 21st century, but we've had at different points players who within their own rights would get into other established good test nations. Gale, Sarwan, Lara and Chandapal need no introduction. They would have walked into nearly every other test team in that period of time with those test averages. And I look at Chris Gale's average of 42 in the 21st century and think, look how much people have maligned Gale over his career, yet the man averaged 42. I'll always say that people underplay how good Chris Gale was in test cricket, and they just have him down as this 6-hitter. The man was a legitimate, he's top two for me, West Indian opener in history. Okay. So that's our top 5. Number 6, this is where it starts to get a bit contentious for me. So Ridley Jacobs. So David has Ridley Jacobs in at number 6, wicketkeeper bat, who averaged 28. Bear in mind that I think other than Gus Lowe, I think you have to go all the way back to, is it Jeff Dujon? I think you have to go all the way back to Jeff Dujon, is it? I may have my numbers wrong or my people wrong, before you find a West Indian wicketkeeper who averaged over 30. So when people are cussing like someone like Josh De Silva, who's averaging 25, 26, and then you look at like Ramdin, you look at Dowrich, like Ridley averaged 28. Maybe Dowrich will say he should be in that side, but Ridley averaged 28 in that 4-year stretch in the 21st century, 300s and 1150s. Ridley was, for those who are old enough to remember Ridley Jacobs, that Ridley, for me, the word pugnacious is made for somebody like Ridley Jacobs. Ridley weren't technically brilliant, but he was a fighter. I actually really liked watching Ridley Jacobs bat in Test cricket. He's a definition of someone who made the most of his ability. Anyways, then David's got Jason Holder in at number 7, which I think is fair enough, averaging 30, 300s, 1450s, and also 30 with the ball. I think people don't give Jason Holder the credit he's due in Test cricket, averaging 30 with ball and bat in Test cricket. So he's in at number 7, and for me, that's a no-brainer. It's Ridley Jacobs' position at 6, which is the question mark there, but you have to have a wicketkeeper. So I get it. Whether you'd swap Jason Holder in at 6, like both of them for me have to be there. So I get why David's got Jacobs in at 6, because if you take Jacobs out, who's your wicketkeeper? So I kind of do get it. And Holder's your best all-rounder in the 21st century. So he also has to be in. And the reason why I'm pausing here is there'll be lots of people be like, where's Darren Bravo? You'll see his name is in the reserves, etc. But they can't fit in that side. when you're talking about the best team of the 21st century, there's no spot for someone like a Darren Bravo. And obviously there's no spot for anybody in the down bad last 5-10 years or so. But Bravo's the best of the down bad era, and he can't fit in if you have a wicket keeper. But then it gets to the bowlers, and this is where it gets a bit more contentious for me in terms of the bowlers that David has picked. So in at number 8 is Jerome Taylor. So Jerome Taylor took 130 wickets at 34 apiece in his career in 46 test matches. And he's also got, remember, he also hit a test match century. So I get why he's going in at number 8. I'm not convinced about Jerome being there. I'm not convinced. For me, Jaden Seals has already done enough to supplant, whether it be Taylor or whether it be Shannon Gabriel. Jaden Seals in his, how many test matches has he played now? 17. Now, some people might say Jaden's sample size is too small. But for me, I think Jaden Seals already gets into this best team of the 21st century. That's a talking point. Get at me in the comments below if you disagree. So Jerome Taylor's in at number 8. Then he's got Bishu in. So Bishu had a 7-year career, 36 test matches, 117 wickets at 37 apiece. That's a question mark for me as well. Should Bishu be there? Is Bishu the best option as the spinner? I mean, Jamel Warrican did better than Bishu, or has done better than Bishu. Is there another spinner, people, that could be there instead of Devendra Bishu? Multi hasn't played enough matches, so I'm not sure if we can look at Multi. Maybe Bishu is the best bet, but that's a question mark. Get me in the comments below, people. Should Bishu be there? Yes or no? Multi may supplant him in time when we're talking about best team of the 21st century. The question is, should Jamel Warrican be there instead of Bishu? I don't know. Question marks. Kimar Roach needs no explanation. So what's Kimar? Kimar is 18 test match wickets away from possibly hitting the 300 club. Will he retire before he reaches 300? We don't know, but he's there. 282 wickets at 27 apiece, needs no explanation. And then Shannon Gabriel, 59 test matches, 166 wickets at 32 apiece. So it's the bowling attack. And to be fair, let me read David's message again. David says, the batting lineup picked itself, which I think is fair, but the bowling attack was far less straightforward. I reckon I changed my mind about 8 times. And I understand why David would have changed his mind, because I've got question marks over Jerome Taylor, question marks over Devendra Bishu. There may even be question marks over Shannon Gabriel. No, I think Shannon's probably got to be there. So it's Jerome Taylor and Devendra Bishu, which probably have the biggest question marks to me. Some people will say Ridley Jacobs shouldn't be there, and they'll say maybe Shane Dowritt should be there instead. Let me take myself off the screen. And the reason why I've taken myself off the screen is to see who he had in. Oh, this is interesting. So this is who David's got in as his reserves. Darren Bravo is the next best batter, which I agree with. 10-year test career, 56 test matches, an average of 36, 800s, 17 50s. Yep, I think that's fair enough. Danish Ramdin is in as his reserve wicketkeeper. I think 74 test matches, Danish Ramdin, for an average of 26, 400s, 15 50s. I think there's an argument to say Shane Dowritt should be there ahead of Danish Ramdin, but I'll let you lot in the comments below question that. Dwayne Bravo is the backup all-rounder, seaming all-rounder. Now, this is an interesting one. Dwayne Bravo had a 6-year test career, 40 test matches. He averaged 31, so that's better than Holder, with 300s and 13 50s, having played. Now, Holder's got 300s, 14 50s. Bravo had 3 and 13, had playing 29 test matches less than Holder. Bravo took 86 wickets at 39-40 apiece, which you could say is subpar. But then Bravo's test career was ended at least minimum 4 or 5 years too soon, if not 6. But I get why he's the backup all-rounder. Some might say that Dwayne Bravo should be ahead of Jason Holder. Don't buy that. I'm not sure I buy that. But if Bravo's test career hadn't been cut off earlier, who knows? Then he's got Roston Chase in reserve, which I don't disagree with, to be fair. Obviously, look, his test average is rubbish now, but he has 5 test hundreds. 5 test hundreds, 11 50s, an average of 26. That shows you how bad Roston's batting really fell off. Obviously, 85 test wickets at 46 apiece. There's nothing to write home about, but I get why Roston would be there as the backup all-rounding spinner. But given I've got question marks about Devendra Bishu, maybe Roston Chase shouldn't be there in reserve. And I certainly disagree with Fidel Edwards being there as the backup pacer. 55 test wickets, sorry, 55 test matches, 165 wickets at 38 apiece. Fidel's not in my backup for me. I already think that Jaden Seals should be in the best test team of the 21st century, even with having only played 17 test matches. Because I just think Starboy has already shown he's way above everybody else and his ceiling's even higher, right? So given that I think Jaden should already be in the team, I wouldn't even have Fidel anywhere in the conversation. But listen, people, that's super interesting. And thank you, David Ingram. Let me put myself back up on the screen. Thank you, David Ingram, for that team. That's a super interesting discussion there. Like I say, people, I'm not here to say it should be this or it should be that, but do what David's done, people. If there's ever like a topic that you want discussed on the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, which doesn't really fit the conventional way we do our episodes, we're not afraid to talk about these things, people. Love that from David Ingram. Thought I should do a quick little episode on it. What's your West Indies test team of the 21st century? Do you disagree with David Ingram? And if you do disagree, put your team in the comments below. And also, as ever, let me remove his team now. I'm back. Like the video, people. Share the video. Subscribe to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Bit of a different episode, that, but it just had to be done. Had to be done. You can find us on all social media handles. You know the done know. You done know the done know already. X, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, Discord. I don't even know. On all of them, we're everywhere. Facebook, etc. Find us, like it, share it, subscribe it. I think we're only about 200 away from 11K on YouTube. So we're about to hit that milestone as well. And if you've got anything to spare, Christmas time isn't easy for everyone, but if you've got anything to spare, you can go to www.patreon.com/Carib Cricket. Helps keep the movement on the road, helps us pay people who do stuff for us from time to time, and helps get me and Santoki a coffee if there's anything left over. So if you can spare a little piece, that's where you can support us. I gather that some people do PayPal. We have got a PayPal. We just never really advertise it, but again, reach out if you want to. And the Caribbean Cricket Podcast new beanies are for sale. As soon as I've finished recording this, I'm actually about to head to the post office to send out some beanies because I just sold a couple more. So if you want one, again, send us an email, get in the DMs, etc., and we can sort that out. Listen, let me know about that test team of the 21st century, people. We'll be back with some more content. West Indies women lost the final ODI earlier today, so they lose the series 3-0. They're going to have to probably go to the World Cup qualifiers now to get to the ODI World Cup. So we'll do a video on that. And of course, we have also got the end of year awards, Caribbean Cricket Podcast 2024 awards coming up as well. So plenty more content to come before the year is out. I'll be Machel St. Patrick Hewitt, one half of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Stay locked in. More stuff coming. See you soon.
West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.